Hello everyone, welcome back. It's time for our reading for the month of March. So much is going on in the world right now, and well, let's just see what the ancestors have to say, because again, this is part of the aspect of what are the decisions we're making, what are the long-term decisions we're making, how much is the idea of an empire a gold trap that ends up creating and perpetuating our harm. All for the idea of something that is appealing to some but not to everyone. And even though everyone can benefit. But again, let us see what the dice have to what the dice and the bones have to say for the month of March. All right, so we've got definitely more of a spread here with the way the bones fell. So our dice is number 10. Now number 10 represents career, goals, fame, success, achievement, public image. We also have over in the Adinkra the symbol here, which basically translates into I live not when God is not. It talks about omnipotence and omnipresentness of God, the perpetuality of the existence of the spirit, antiquity, and old age. God does not die, so I cannot die either. And so that fits very much into what we're seeing with the 10th house, which is the aspect of how is our careers something that is omnipresent, but also something that falls into the sense of legacy. Same thing with depending on what our goals are, depending on the sense of fame, success, achievements. It's that sense of what lives on long after we go. And I think that's kind of an interesting importance to what I was saying at the start of this video about the ideas of golden kingdoms and something that is eternal, something that doesn't change, or building something that is perceived to be the antithesis of what we all desire. And to be put it this way, there's something, I don't know how many of you have ever watched the sci-fi show The Expanse. One of the themes that has fulfilled that entire show from season 1 to its fulfilling of it is that there is an idea that a war is inevitable, and that somehow this particular belief in who they are will always triumph over everyone else's existence. This becomes the legacy that is put forth. And we have to be careful that our legacies, that the thinking of 7 generations out is not also filled with ego, and most especially not with narcissism, which is supported here by the shell, which is talking about our internal system, our internal self, our internal idea of what are we building our careers around, what is the goals that we're building, what is the fame that we're trying to establish, what is the success, the achievement, what is the image, because that's the image that is being held on to by everyone within ourselves. The idea for some is making sure that a legacy and image and memory is left behind is something found in building a great statue or doing something that has never been done before. The real legacy is in how did you change and improve the lives, not just of yourself and of your family, but of the entire society around you and all who touch it. So we find with the bones here, this one is work, this one is social, and this one is home. The work bone is here next to one of the rib bones, where we also got a sense of inspiration. And it also has its proximity to the quartz piece. So there's an aspect of what is keeping perspective on what we are working on. That sometimes the image, the legacy, the fame, the career is not always about what's in the future. Sometimes it's about the past. Sometimes it's about how we have learned from what we have already done in our work. What didn't work and what does. What got the better of us when we're looking at our ego and allowing our ego to have that power, versus what are we looking at and producing when we're looking at the greater good, and that, again, that thinking 7 generations out. And the sense of obligation to that 7th generation versus the rights of the right now. Over here, we have, again, the social/family bone, and it is crossed by the rib bone, and it is the broken rib bone as well. And it is one that is shaped like the crutch. So there's going to be, it talks about a divide, and a divide about what we have needed in the past, what we have thought in the past, versus where we are now. And also, you see, we have the copper piece here, so spirit's involved. We have one of the rib bones, so there's about thought, and we have just the tail edge of the broken rib bone, which is almost like the dagger. And in its way, spirit is, in many ways, spirit has its hands over that dagger. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. It means that spirit will do what it needs to fulfill the task that is before us. And it doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily be taking into account what your feelings are. Now notice, like I said, we have the rib bone here. And here we also have some of the rib bones as well. So we've got a divide in the both social and the family. We have those that are operating because they think they can go with whatever they feel, whatever they think, whatever they're lost in this idea of themselves. They're lost in the internal. And spirit is watching, spirit is waiting to see what's going to happen. And there are those who are going to be following that. Those who recognize what spirit is actually saying is like, okay, you're going to make a decision. You need to make a decision. You keep putting off this decision. Guess what? We're making the decision for you. And we're going to use whatever means we have to do that. And so we have the divide. Now, some might say this is a divide of old and young, or male and female, gay and straight. But no, this is really a divide between those who can think about the future and the 7 generations versus the ones who are trapped in the moment. And this is the group that is trapped in the moment here. This is the group that knows 7 generations goes way further out and knows that spirit is there waiting. The home bone is very quiet. There's going to be some sense of balance, and that's that's going on. And so how are we, again, having a sense of balance in our home and in our lives? And in doing so, that is how the spirit is being omniscient and omnipresent to us. It's how we are preparing our existence, because that sense of the home. So we've got a number of bones that are floating around here at the outer edges. All, again, parts and pieces that are coming in. We're going to be seeing the impact that these last week or so forth has had in the aspect of the Ukraine. And again, keep in mind how much of what has inspired this situation with the Ukraine has been centered in an idea of this sense of antiquity, this sense of fame, this sense of an idea of an achievement. But again, whose? And are we letting an entire world, entire existence be affected because of one person wants to have a dream of an empire and is willing to destroy lives to do it, versus build an empire by encouraging the people around them to build for everyone. So keep in mind, how are you not just building the empire, the legacy for yourself and for your family, by encouraging everyone to be the best they are versus just what you want. So on behalf of the ancestors, the Orishas, the laws, and all the spirits in the world, Ashe, be well, and we'll see you next time.